let's talk about animating icons inside of After Effects. Now, animating icons is one of my most favorite things to do inside of After Effects. It's so cathartic. If a client ever offers you a paid gig animating a series of icons, you should totally take it. Seriously, take it. Icon animation takes what we already know about After Effects, from basic shapes to masks to basic keyframe properties, and it allows us to hone in our skills in communicating through movement. Because icons communicate. It's the whole goal of an icon. And so if we're animating them, we need to communicate and support that communication effort through movement. And this allows us to focus creatively on the logic system behind a given icon. If we take a lock, for example, we know how locks should move. We know how they should kind of swivel and dip and lock. So when we start to animate things, then we have to understand that logic system so we can creatively emphasize that communication effort. So in this tutorial, we're going to animate a trophy icon. We're going to break it up into its separate components, and then we're going to start to bring some life into it, learning some new tips and tricks along the way. So let's animate some icons in After Effects right after this. I've given you guys this file to download under this assignment. Go ahead and download it now and import it into your project panel. Let's go ahead and make a new composition for our icon. Let's go up to Composition, New Composition, and let's go ahead and make a 10-second 1920 by 1080 comp with a white background. And let's go ahead and name this Trophy Icon. And hit OK. Now let's go ahead and drag our Trophy Icon PNG into our layer panel. And now you can see it. Now let's assume this icon was given to you by a client, and this is the only file that they have of this icon. Well, it's a PNG. And if I turn on the alpha, you can see that it's fully transparent, so it's really just a bunch of line segments. The issue here is that this is not separated into layers. We can't animate the individual components of this trophy without breaking it into its own pieces first. Now you can always ask the client, hey, do you happen to have this as a Photoshop file or an Illustrator file, and see if that can, help you there. But a lot of times you'll ask them that and they'll say, oh, this is the only file I have. Well, this is okay because it's a great exercise in masking. We're going to break this trophy into different segments: the star, the cup, handle left, handle right, base top, and base bottom. To do this, we're going to mask the individual components. Now, let's go ahead and click on our trophy icon layer in our layer panel, and let's go ahead and duplicate this while saying out loud the number of sections that we need. So this first part here will be the star, duplicate for the cup, duplicate for left handle, duplicate for right handle, duplicate for base top, duplicate for base bottom. Now you may be wondering, well, why did you just duplicate the entire thing 6 times? Because we want 6 different sections, and we're going to mask each of those sections on our duplicate. So let's start down here at our bottom, and let's isolate the star using a mask. Let's go ahead and get out our rectangle tool. And because this is not a shape layer, we're already masking by default. And let's come over here to our star. I'm going to zoom in and get close to this. And let's just draw a basic mask around our star. Now you might be wondering, I don't get it. We just masked the star out. Why do we see the rest of the trophy still? Because of our duplicates. If I were to solo by clicking the white circle checkbox for our bottom layer now, you can see I've just masked out the star. So we're going to repeat this process. Let's go ahead and start though by naming our new masked layer star. Let's come to the next one. And let's isolate the base. So let's get out our rectangle tool and let's draw a rectangle around the top part of this base. I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to use my bottom arrow key to nudge my mask down until the top of my mask aligns with the bottom of the cup. right about there. And you can see now that the bottom of my mask doesn't cut off the bottom part of the base well enough. So I'm going to get out my selection tool. I'm going to click off the mask. And by the way, this mask is really hard to see. After Effects generates the mask color for you. But if for some reason your eye's having a hard time seeing it, we could either bring back the alpha color, or you can actually change the color of a mask by clicking on the mask color next to the mask name. And you can change the color of this to something that's a bit easier to see. So I'm going to click off of my mask, select it down here, click off, and then click and hold Shift on the two vertices that I want to adjust now. So you can see that these vertices for my mask are solid. These top ones are clear, which means they're not selected. So now I'm going to nudge this down by hitting my bottom arrow, and I'm only nudging down the bottom part of my mask. I'm going to do this until it lies pretty much flat. Zooming in will help you get pretty accurate on this. That looks... Go a few more up here. That looks pretty good to me. Good. So now if we solo this layer, we can see the part that we've masked out. Let's name this by clicking on the layer and hitting Enter. Base top. So you can see what we're doing. We're breaking this into its separate components. Let's go ahead and do base bottom. Let's click on the next duplicate. Let's zoom in here and let's come down to our base bottom. Let's get out our rectangle tool and same thing, draw a rectangle around our base. Likewise, hit the down arrow on your keyboard to nudge the mask downward right to the bottom of the other part of the base. If I solo this, you can see that we have a little bit of the area up here that we want to get rid of, so I can nudge this down a hair. Yeah, looks good. Unsolo, and now we have three separate components. We have our star isolated, we have our base top, and we have our base bottom. Let's go ahead and rename this layer base bottom. Now, the cup and the handles are going to be a bit more difficult because they require curves. To make a mask with curves, we have to use our pen tool. So go ahead and get out your pen tool. And let's select our next duplicate. For this, I'm going to isolate the cup. I'm going to zoom in here so I can see my curves. I'm going to start up here on the top left next to my handle. I'm going to click once. I'm going to come down here toward the bottom and I'm going to click and drag. My goal here is to try to match the curve of the cup. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect because, again, we're functioning on alpha, so it's not like we're going to trim any white areas here, which is nice. But we do want to make sure that we're getting this as close to the handle as possible. Notice I missed it up here. That's okay for now. Let's just get through the rest of our masking. I'm going to come up here. Do this. Totally missed that, but I'll clean it up later. Just like Photoshop, the pen tool can be readjusted after the fact. Doesn't matter up here because it's all alpha, and back down to the bottom. So let's come down here and let's refine our edges now. I'm going to add a pen tool point by hovering my pen tool over my mask and clicking. And now I can drag this up. And I can start to refine the curves. Now again, it doesn't have to be perfect along the edges because we're working with alpha here. But I do want to make sure that this is as close to the base top as possible. Looks good. This line here looks decent. I'm going to come up here. I'm holding spacebar to move around my comp, by the way. I'm going to click this area here, maybe add a new point and bring this in a smidge. Looks good. Same thing over here to make sure this is far enough away that we're not eating away of the cup. Add a new point, drag this in. So the only areas that I'm trying to be a perfectionist on are the areas that intersect with the other components, in this case, the handles and the base. That looks pretty good. So if I were to solo this, we can see the cup. But uh-oh, the star still exists in the cup. We actually have to add a second mask. Click on this layer that we're now going to rename cup. Click on cup and hit M on the keyboard. This brings up the mask that we've drawn. Well, we want to draw a second mask. A second mask, you ask? I thought we can only have one mask per layer. You can actually have many masks per layer. And the way that they interact with the layer is over here using the mask blending mode. Well, let's add a second mask and I'll show you what this means. Let's come up to our rectangle tool, and just like our first star mask, we're going to mask out the star, but this time on our cup layer. That created mask 2. Now if I solo this layer, nothing's changed. I want to change this mask from add to subtract. Masks always default to add because you want to add masks to layers, but you can also subtract what's inside of a mask from a given layer. So if I click subtract on my mask 2, which is my star mask, it effectively deletes that from that layer, leaving just the outline of my cup. So again, you can draw multiple masks and change how they interact with the layer content with the pull down over here to the right of the mask name. I'm going to go ahead and unsolo my cup. 2 layers left, my left handle and my right handle. Now I could come up to my pen tool and draw again all those curves that we just perfected along our cup. But instead, we can actually take a mask from a previous layer and duplicate it on another. So you can actually select a mask name, hit Control C or Command C to copy it, click on a new layer and Control V to paste. Now if I hit M on this layer, we can see this mask has now been duplicated onto this new layer. So let's solo this layer. So it makes sense. We've just duplicated the first mask on our cup. And so we can see the cup and the star. But go ahead and come over here to the far right where we see inverted and click on that. It now inverts the mask. We can now see everything but the cup and star. Well, this is great for the handles, but we don't want the base. So I'm going to hit V on my keyboard or come up to my selection tool in my toolbar. And I'm going to move the mask to basically swallow up everything but my left handle. You can notice this does not have to be perfect, but if I need to add new points, which I will because I don't want to move this curve here, I'm going to get out my pen tool and add a new point and then drag. So this is now just my left handle, following the exact same mask line as our cup. So let's go ahead and rename this layer handle L or handle left. And let's do the same thing. Let's click on our last duplicate. Let's hit Control V or Command V on the keyboard, which is just going to paste the mask that was already copied. And let's do the same thing. Let's come over here, click on our layer, hit M on the keyboard to bring up our mask. Let's invert it, and let's solo it to see what we're working with. So now that we've done handle left, I want to do handle right. So I'm going to take the areas of the mask and swallow up everything but handle right. Again, I don't want to move that curve, so I'm going to add a new pen tool point by clicking on the existing path and swallow up the rest of the base. Let's go ahead and rename this duplicate handle right or handle R. And let's unsolo that to bring back all of our areas. So we now have the singular icon PNG separated into 6 different components. And with some anchor point adjustments, it will then be ready to animate. So again, the main takeaway here is that just because you're handed a design that's static in one singular layer, you're not stuck in what you can do with the animation. All you have to do is break it up into duplicates and separate masked areas, allowing you now, as if these were Photoshop layers, we now have separate layers to animate. So with some anchor point work in the next tutorial, we'll start to animate this.